recorded.
A little bit of political news tonight, if I may, at the risk of being a little contentious. So there's a new mayor in New York, and one of the first things he did was overturn the previous mayor's safeguards against Judaism, against anti-Semitism and BDS, and the IHRA, the International Holocaust Remembrance Association definition of Judaism, and we will see how that goes. Having said that, being that this is Shabbat, and we say Shabbat Shalom, Shalom being peace, let's talk about something a little different. So, on a newscast I want to say last week, somebody from a different religion got on TV, and they were talking about their principles and how they believe in honoring the poor, helping the disadvantaged, resting on a day of the week. And I thought, gee, that sounds familiar. But you know what? If they want to own that, I say go for it. I really do. You know, it's okay if you want to own some of these Jewish principles, because I believe that's what it's all about. God gave Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and Joseph, really, when you think about it, a mandate. Okay? And he said, spread my word. Show everybody that there is divine justice. I want you, to Abraham, to go from the land that you're in now, a land of paganry, of idolatry, go to a new land that I will show you, where you can establish a homeland, a place of our own, a place where your people will grow. And as we move this week from the last part of Genesis, where Jacob blesses his sons who will become the ancestors of tribes, and we go into next week, the new book of Exodus, where 70 souls go down to Egypt. And eventually, after about 100 years, we have 2.5, 3 million people. 3 million Israelites living in Egypt, where they thrive. We've grown to a people. And then we go into the wilderness, where God gives us yet another mandate. 613 commandments, mitzvah, as you're known in Hebrew. To be a righteous people. In Judaism, people say we don't proselytize, but actually that's not completely true. We do proselytize. We do. We want to see the world be a righteous place, and we want to live by example. So if another heritage, another culture wants to take on that and own it, I say go for it. Own it. Claim it, whatever you want to do. Because in Judaism, we believe in divine justice. We don't believe that kings and sovereign leaders are above the law. No, they have to be an example. Just like Jews have to be an example to the rest of the world. Or a lesson, an example in humanity. An example in which the poor and the downtrodden are not cast to the side because they can't make it, but rather you should love your neighbor as yourself and help your neighbor and help those that are downtrodden. Because God says, I'm going to watch you, and I'm going to give you prosperity, and I'm going to insist, I'm going to mandate that you take that prosperity and you share it. That is why I created you. So you could be an example. And while the rest of the world, other places in the world, not the rest of the world, that's unfair. While a great many places in the world are xenophobic and are oppressing people that are not them, we say no. We say, we open our doors at Passover, and we say, let all who are hungry come in and eat. Of course, these days you got to be kind of careful about that, right? But that's okay because, safety above all else. That's another thing, right? I mean, you don't just throw caution to the wind, right? You got to live by the Torah. You got to live, not die by the Torah. You got to live by the Torah. So you got to espouse these principles, but it's no good. You can't espouse principles when you're not alive. So you got to be careful, and that's okay. So we got to take caution. That's why we have a police car sitting in our lot. That's why we have bulletproof glass. But here we all are, living our religion. And that's what's important. Now in Israel, I read somewhere, and I don't know if this is still true, but they don't really observe the New Year, the secular New Year. It's just another day. The big New Year is Rosh Hashanah, right? The beginning of Tishrei, the 7th month. It is our spiritual New Year. It is when we really gird our loins, if you will, and we take a look. We take stock of who we are. And we say, okay, I'm going to look at what I did that last year. May not be pleasant. I may not want to admit it, but we spend all this time banging our chests, saying, I've lied, I've sinned, I've gossiped. And we own those because we're frail. We're flawed human beings. And we have to do that. If you want to change, you have to know what you're going to change. Very important. That's our New Year. And the rest of the world has owned this as well in the way of New Year's resolutions. And even though we are Jews, we are living in a society that celebrates the New Year, that looks at New Year's resolutions. And we can do two things at once. Two things can be true at once, right? I love that. We can observe our Rosh Hashanah. And you know what? We can even look at the New Year and say, okay, let's continue to look at New Year's resolutions for the secular New Year in the society in which we live. Because after all, if God wants us to be examples, then we have to live in that society and we have to be examples in that society. So as we move into 2026, as we have already moved into 2026, let's think about that. Let's continue our commitment to be better people. Let's not let people that demean us just because and look for reasons and set us apart from other people and hold us to a standard that nobody else is held to. But you know what? Let's embrace that. Let's embrace that difference. And let's say, okay, if you're going to do that to us, we are going to show you. We are going to play your game by our rules. We are going to show you that we can be better because we are. Because God wants us to be better. Because God has given us those mitzvot and and allowed us to be an example. So happy 2026, everybody. Happy New Year. Don't forget when you're writing the date, it's 26, not 25. And let's have a prosperous, healthy New Year.